Hi everybody, I'm Taylor. I'm an artist in Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm sitting inside my super duper fancy Honda Element. It's an '06. It's green. I've had it for about 14 years. It's fancy and it's fantastic, but it's paid off. So I'm sitting here outside of pretty much Appleton's only art supply store, or as I like to call it, Hell on Earth. Everyone else probably calls it Michael's Arts and Crafts store. Not sure if that focused or not. I don't really care, because you've all seen a Michael's. They're everywhere. They smell like potpourri and sadness. Anyway, I realized I didn't have a banner on my YouTube channel, and so I thought, well, heck, I should probably paint that because, well, I paint things. So I'm going to go inside and see what I can find for canvas sizes that fit my needs. I'm not bringing you in because I'm not that guy. I'm not going to go and tear up the joint on a live YouTube thing, but I'll be right back, and hopefully I'll, have a canvas that fits my needs, and we'll go from there. Let's talk to you soon. Ugh. Okay, so it's August, and that place smells like pumpkin spice and sadness. By the way, if anyone from Michael's is watching this in the future, I'm kidding. I love you all. Please sponsor me. You're great. Anyway, I found a canvas. It's 10 inch by 20 inch. It should work. It'll be a nice horizontal piece. And don't worry, I'm not going to actually paint the type because I have horrible handwriting, and I want people to actually read my name and the title of the channel. But I'll see you back in the studio, aka my dad's basement. What do you think, buddy? Are you super excited I'll be painting? Huh? Do you wish it was you I'd be painting? I'll paint you in the future, but not this time. What do you think, huh? What do you think? Are you so excited? Are you so excited you just can't hide it? Yeah, I can tell. You're thrilled. Oh boy. Well, let's get painting. Okay, here's the canvas. And here's sort of the live area YouTube has where I want to make sure I focus the image. YouTube crops things down based on various screen sizes, whether or not it shows up on the television or mobile or what have you. So I'm kind of just sketching this out where I know where the active area would be. That's where my thumbnail theoretically will go. And that sort of box is kind of where I want to focus things. I'm going to paint over this later, so don't worry about that. And yeah, let's get going. Okay, I'm speeding things up from here on out because otherwise it's going to be a very, very long video. I start with a rough sketch in the lower left-hand corner. This is sort of the guy's head, and then his torso and arms. Yeah, just kind of waving hi, a friendly little dude. Don't want to scare the children with death. I just want everyone to know death exists. And he's a robot with swirly eyes. That sort of right area is where the text is going to go. The trick with this is to try and make an interesting painting that still leaves me a lot of sort of dead-ish area I can type over. I'm doing a really quick, rough background fill. This is just obviously watered down acrylic, and I'm going to dull this out quite a bit. I don't love this color, but I just wanted to lay something down. So, yep, there's my dirty sock. You'll see that throughout the video. I just kind of use it to quickly dry things, and then I will paint over another layer to lighten it up. There's a lot of little subtle colors hidden in this background, which I like and I think helps add interest, but I didn't want it to overpower things, especially because I'm going to be laying type over it. I'm not going to be showing the type in this video because that would make it, again, insanely long. But the piece itself I'll show you at the end. Also, the piece will be for sale, so if you like it and want to purchase it, I'll leave a link down in the comments. And yep, here's me to sort of rough in the figure with paint. I kind of like this acid fluorescent-y green for the character's sort of head bubble. And then I go with a blue for the body of the figure, and then it's just kind of rough in from there. At this point, I really am just trying to lay down as much color as possible, and as quickly as possible, is to rough in the entire space. I like to work quickly, and generally I like to work wet on dry, but in this case, at least in this stage, I don't mind working on top of wet paint. Otherwise, it would just really take a long time to paint. because I'll be waiting for every little mark to dry before I can paint on top of it. So there's a little bit of like live wet on dry color blending going on here, but in general, yeah, like I said, I like to work once the layers are dry, which you'll see shortly. And here I am just alternating it up to get a little bit of interest with that pink. Yeah, the palette I have is pretty simple on this one. I didn't want to use a ton of colors, again, because I need it to be an interesting painting, but at the same time I need to throw down type on top of it, and so I needed to kind of keep it a little bit limited as far as color goes. But I wanted it to be bright and cheerful and happy, and so I'm just kind of roughing in the skeleton here, the skull, and going from there. Once I have the figure kind of roughed in where I like it, I'm going to start adding in a little bit of background, quote-unquote, detail. I basically am just painting over the existing background in places and painting around the edge of it so the edge is painted all the way around. And then I'm going to, well, once I get this all done, which will take a couple more seconds in the video, pay lovely attention to that sock up top. I'm going to sketch around this piece to kind of pull it out a little bit and add some nice little pencil marks to that thing. A lot of these marks end up getting covered over in the final piece, but I like having like hints of the work process kind of show through, and hints of the mark making show through in parts of the final piece. I'm not concerned with every line showing through because that's not really the point. They're just kind of part of it, and they're one layer to things. Here I am adding some hearts to the background because who doesn't love hearts? It's a loving little Deathbot screaming out hearts of joy. And yeah, so I'm roughing that in to give a little bit of pattern and a little bit of playfulness to what otherwise would just be a color field on this sort of right half of the painting. And now I'm adding in lightning bolts. Kapow! Wait, pew! And kabling! There, because I love lightning bolts. Who doesn't love lightning bolts? They're kind of a throwback to the sort of comic book past that I have. And by comic book past, I don't mean that I drew comics, because I never have, but I just meant I was pretty much raised by them. Or I spent hours in my room reading them. Lots of X-Men, lots of 80s Marvel leading into 90s Marvel. Rob Liefeld, look, like Rob Liefeld, I don't paint feet, because I just cut the character off at the middle. At this point, I just let it dry for a bit, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm racing through this segment because, well, as you can see, I didn't have the cameras focused well, and I don't want to give anyone watching this too much of a headache, because it's giving me a bit of a headache to watch it myself. So this is basically just me adding a little bit more detail to the character, pulling out some brightness and, you know, lightening it up a bit, and yeah. I know it's hard to kind of tell what's going on, and I apologize. It doesn't last a whole lot longer. We're almost halfway through this little chunk. We can get through it together, audience. I have faith. So, anyway, as I was saying, this piece will be for sale, which you can tell by looking at it right now. It's a masterpiece. Yeah, I'll have it up on my shop later this week. If I don't have it up when the thing goes live, it's because I kind of ran out of time to photograph it. This is all taking me a whole lot longer to put together than I thought, and this painting ended up taking me a portion of 2 different days just because I had to let things dry a bit. And I added polyurethane and a little bit of surprise for the audience, or whoever purchases it, if anyone does. There's a little bit of surprise it's not filmed, and I kind of did it on purpose. It doesn't really affect the visual quality of the piece at all, but it's just a little bit of something I threw in there. So, anyways, we're wrapping up this blurry chunk of mess right about now, and then, thankfully, I remembered to focus the camera. So a lot of the elements that are here now are present in the final piece. I'm kind of happy with the layout and how things look, and I am just adding a few final touches. Now, when I say that, I mean it just immediately painted over the hearts. But I'm going to pull them back out. I just didn't like quite how bold they were in places. So adding a few more subtle colors, you know, nice subtle purple everywhere, and going from there. This is kind of how I do things. I paint, and then I erase, then I paint, then I erase, and leave like hints of past elements, and you know, until I'm happy with the results. So the figure itself, you'll see I kind of work it a bit and push and pull things, but I kind of, the layout doesn't change, and the general idea of it does not really change from here on out. So if you're horribly bored, fast forward to the end. Please don't. I need YouTube to say, hey, a lot of people have watched these videos. We're going to let you run ads so you can make a living at something in your life. That's not really the end goal of this, but it sure would be nice. Then you could get an ad placed right here to really annoy you. You know, like for Viagra or car insurance or something lovely like that. And yes, I realize I ran off into a tangent there. Sorry, Tim. You wanted to know about the process, but at this point in the process, I really am just kind of pushing and pulling, adding and subtracting, and going from there. So this is going to come close to wrapping up this chunk of things again here. What I'm trying to do is leave myself in a good spot at the end of today where I don't have a ton to do tomorrow that involves wet media. That way I can kind of finish the piece up, get it shot, and, well, start working on editing. And note from the future, that kind of worked because this is day 2, the piece is finished in real world, and I'm editing it as of right now while I'm talking. Amazing. Anyways, star wipe. Here we are with the close-up. I didn't love the eyes and the face right now, so I painted over it, and I'm going to address that in a bit. I just wanted to like really get the skull shape down to where I liked it, and then kind of work out the details on the body of the figure, and then I'm going to varnish it, which you'll see in a second, and kind of let it sit for the night. Come back to it with a fresh set of eyes in the morning and go from there. Again, this has already happened because I'm recording this audio separately. Otherwise, me trying to do it live is even more awkward, I've discovered. So I add some highlights, try and get the idea that it's metal while still looking painterly. I don't know if it worked. I know it looks a little bit cartoony and stuff, but I also kind of like that. I spend a lot of time watching Hanna-Barbera cartoons and the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, also Robotech, Voltron, anything with like cool monsters, basically. And that's kind of where this guy comes from. He's my Skeletor. Don't sue me, Mattel. He's not. He's totally unrelated. He's a Skullbot, a Deathbot, a Triple X evil murder monster. Whatever. He's not Skeletor. But here's where I kind of finish up with the wet paint for the day. I let it sit, and now I'm just quickly applying a coat of polyurethane to the thing. I'm really whipping through this because there's nothing to it. I painted with polyurethane, I let it dry, and then I go to bed. So I left myself in a pretty good spot. The paint's dry, the varnish is dry, and now basically I start using Sharpie. I redid the eyes, and I'll kind of trace it to give it the kind of black outline that I like. This is definitely stolen from comic books. Comic books up until fairly recently, they inked everything, and it was all a black outline, and I really kind of enjoy that. It's a crisp, funky, easy way of delineating objects from each other and of pulling things out and helping them add to the foreground. Plus, it's just an aesthetic I enjoy. So I yeah, I'm adding the black outline with the Sharpie, which does not take super long, and then I'm going to, once this is complete, which it should be wrapping up here fairly quickly, because, yeah. Stop, man. I think this really kind of helps bring out the playfulness of the figure. It definitely makes it more cartoony, which I'm going for in this case, and it makes it, well, hopefully a little more fun, because I know a skull robot thingy might not seem the most fun at first, but I kind of wanted it to be a playful, like, hi audience, you're watching my YouTube channel, please stay, please stay. Anyway, so yeah, I used the black Sharpie. I kind of pull out as much as of the figure to the foreground as much as I want, and then in about 2 seconds I bust out my secret weapon. And that secret weapon is an oil-based white Sharpie. I like the oil-based because it works better than water-based white. Water-based white just doesn't do anything. But in order for the oil-based white to actually work, I needed to lay down the polyurethane, which is kind of one of the reasons I did it last night. As you can see, I'm just trying to like help make the sort of glass dome over the guy's forehead come out, and then a little bit of like what looks like light reflecting off his robo suit, as it were. And yeah, there's not. I think it's these little details that really kind of add to things, and I enjoy doing it. And it doesn't take much time, but I think the end result is much better if you just add these little final finishing touches. So I'm kind of wrapping up with the piece now. It's very close to being finished. I'm going to basically add the white highlights and around the eyes here, around the teeth. I'm going to add a little bit to the lightning bolt, and then I'm going to, once the lightning bolt's complete here, I add a little bit, well, see, there we go. Look, I pulled it down because I realized it wasn't in frame. So I add the white to the lightning bolt, and then it's pretty much finished. I sign the piece, and yeah, we are good. And that's about it. I signed it on the front. That's a new thing for me. I like the white marker because it lets me sign it without really overpowering the piece. I think if I were to use a black signature, it would really draw the eye too much to that corner of the painting. But yeah, there we go. That's a cropped in version. I'm gonna go wait for this to dry entirely. And oh wait, I forgot. I didn't love that, so I painted over the green there. I add a little bit of poly back over this, and then it's done. I'll be back, and I'll show you a photo of the piece in a couple seconds. And here's the finished piece. I think it's going to make a great YouTube banner, and I look forward to getting it up online, which will hopefully happen in the very near future.
What do you think, buddy? Are you excited the painting's done? Huh? Are you super happy? Huh? Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, that's about it. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up and the subscribe and the like and whatever the heck you all do for these things. I appreciate it, and I'll have another video for you next week. Oh, as far as who won the giveaway for last week's print, I will put it in the description down below. And yep, that's my green Honda Element. Feel free to stalk me if you're in the Appleton area.